What was your family like home like life like at home? Obviously, being 17, rapping, being active in the
Yeah.
streets. Were your parents around? Like,
So I had earlier I had my grandmother Miss Maxine, Tammy Shannon and Florin Road in South Sacramento. My family all in the gardens, Casa Linda and 24th Street, Nedra Court. And so that period of my life was beautiful up until my grandmother passed. And she kind of was the glue that held the family together. And when she passed away, leadership, who's going to take over? Who's that next person? There wasn't really anybody in position. The people who were in position, like my mom, were in grief. They were grieving.
Right.
And so while they were grieving, I went outside. And so I'm with my big cousins, Artie Barnes, AJ from 24th Street, Gunplay. I'm with my family members. And so, yeah, I didn't have a lot of supervision. My father's from Pritchard, Alabama. He met my mama in Sacramento. My uncle went to my uncle Bodig's house across from Oak Park Community Center back in the day. And so my cousin Jimmy Broadnax lived right across from the Oak Park Community Center. And my mom would always be over there with my aunt, my grandmother's sister. And next door was my father's uncle. And that's how they linked up. And, here I am. But he goes home to Alabama. He was just visiting family. And so I didn't really have a two-parent home. I probably spent a total of 3 or 4 years with my father out of my entire life.
damn.
You know what I mean? And that's brutal. It's brutal. And what I learned from him in that period of time definitely it has a lot to do with me being alive. You know what I mean? He didn't teach me a lot with his words, but observing the way he moved. He strapped up, he got he was with the bullshit.
Right.
All of it. He owned his club. He was moving. He had vending machines. He was grinding. I remember I went to Alabama. My pops takes me on a trip to Pensacola. We get some fireworks. I think, it's whatever. And I had a trip with my dad. We go to the beach. He meet up with some people. They put the fireworks in the trunk. We drive back. And then I can't use these specific fireworks, right? And then I got the other fireworks and shit. And then I see my pops was busting them bitches down and emptying out all of the fireworks, And he in there cooking and cleaning up and doing his thing. And so my pops said, I went with my pops on a pickup mission. My pops was running, he was doing him. And so it wasn't unusual for me to see him cooking up in there and counting his money and doing his thing and, being on 10 toes, and how he communicated with his brothers, how he communicated with his friends. And so he didn't teach me a lot deliberately, but I saw a lot that later on it kept me alive. Yeah, so I'm grateful to my father, may he rest in peace. And I feel like he didn't know what the fuck to do with a child. He didn't know what to do with no baby.
Right.
And, I feel that way with my mother. My mother raised us the way she was raised, and that included teaching us a lot: encyclopedias, dictionaries, puzzles, mind games. She had a lot of that type of stuff in the home, just psychological games you could play to strengthen your perspective. And but she wasn't too much. I needed male leadership in my life. And once we hit a certain age, that was it. Back then, 16, I'm running around doing me. Wasn't no discipline at all.
Right.
And so, yeah, I didn't have a lot of support.